I practically lived on okpa in the first trimester of my pregnancy. Hi guys, and welcome back. Or if you're coming across my channel for the first time, you're welcome. And that will mean that you need a backstory. So 4 years ago, I was pregnant with my twins, my first pregnancy. While I did not know they were twins at the beginning, I eventually found out 7 months later. But I digress. So, in the first trimester of my pregnancy, as with many other pregnancies, I could hardly keep anything down. I mean, I threw up everything I ate as quickly as it entered my mouth. When the meals I cooked for myself couldn't stay down, I tried eating from restaurants, which was definitely more expensive and so not sustainable. I'm not sure now how I found out that okpa was going to be my saving grace, but I somehow did. And now I recall taking the bus to work severally, but going all the way to the final bus stop at Terminus because those women by the roundabout by Zenith Bank had the best okpa. I didn't mind spending an extra 500 naira at the time because this was practically all I would eat. I would buy enough, just enough for me to eat at that time and then keep some for later. Even though okpa can be prepared with the most basic ingredients, some people who sell go the extra mile to add crayfish in some and uziza leaves in others. As with other pregnant women, my taste used to vary per time, but I really loved the smell of uziza leaves in my okpa. Just talking about it makes me so nostalgic. I can almost, smell it and taste it. There's nothing compared to hot okpa, quite frankly. So this was my routine for a couple of weeks before I eventually got out of the woods and got my appetite back and my ability to keep food down, of course. But it wasn't at that time I learned how to make okpa. It was years later. I perfected my okpa recipe last year and I'm excited to share it just in case someone is looking to try this. If you've not had okpa before, I bet you are thinking, isn't this just like moi moi? But no, it isn't. Okpa is made from bambara nuts that has been dried and ground into powder. At some point of my childhood, I used to have this almost every day for breakfast before school. As I grew up, I found that this is actually more like a southeastern delicacy. That notwithstanding, you can find okpa almost everywhere you go. It was in Jos when I lived in Jos, in Benue State when I lived in Benue State, in Abuja now that I'm in Abuja, okpa is everywhere. And I just take that to mean everybody loves okpa. Making okpa is quite different from how you would make moi moi. The first thing to note is in mixing your okpa, like the way I started out, you have to use hot water. Water that is bearable to touch, but hot. So I put some water on fire and then I mixed it with the oil I was going to use to, cook the okpa. And then I started to add my okpa flour into the water and oil mixture gradually until I was able to get a runny consistency. Another thing to note is that the okpa batter is way lighter than moi moi batter. If you make your batter too thick or overly thick, by the time your okpa cooks, it's going to be really strong. So okpa batter is typically lighter. Another thing to note, third thing to note, is that the ingredients are quite basic. All you really need are pepper, oil, and salt. You don't need onions, you don't need anything else. I go the extra mile to add uziza seeds, but if you don't have that, you can skip that. You don't need crayfish, tatashe, shombo. You don't even need seasoning cubes. Like, I mean, this is the most basic thing to cook. I always like to have some okpa flour at home. That way, anytime I'm lost for what to cook, especially on a Saturday morning when everyone is at home, I just quickly put this together. It might be tricky at first, but once you get the hang of it, you will love it. It took me the whole of last year to perfect this recipe, but I finally did. And the tips that I've shared in this video put you well on your way to making the perfect okpa. While I support the campaign against using plastic wraps to cook, I simply do not know how to go about getting the leaves for okpa because I hardly see anyone use it these days. If you have any idea what they are, how to get them, if they are the same as the moi moi leaves but are just cut or something, let me know in the comment section. Also, lastly, one thing you want to do when you're making okpa is not keep them after tying them up. You're supposed to put them in the pot that is probably already boiling by now on fire. After each wrap, you transfer to a pot immediately. That way your okpa does not settle or whatever and making it to cook unevenly, which is why you see me shaking after tying up. So when you're done transferring to the pot, just cover and allow it cook properly for about 40 minutes to 1 hour, and after that your okpa is ready. You can eat okpa by itself. You can eat okpa with some pap or any sort of porridge, tom brown or anything you want. It's just absolutely delicious, and I'm sure that if you haven't tried okpa before and you do, you will love it. Some people don't like okpa anyway, so yeah, but you need to try it first to make up your mind. Also, if you haven't watched okpa flour being processed before, it might be a bit tricky, so I'm going to try to make a video on how to process okpa flour from bambara nuts. So thank you guys for watching this video. Until I see you with another one, take care. Bye.